Welcome to Aluminum Spork, where mysteries come to talk. From ancient cities underground to UFOs that float around. Giants of the past, prophetic signs that last, archaeological fights, and strange unexplained lights. Aluminum Sport, where truth and legends intertwine. From pyramids to guidestones blown, to secrets carved in ancient stone, we're diving deep into the unknown. Hancock's theories we explore, while Congress opens UFO doors. From Göbekli Tepe's rise to jellyfish in darkened skies, mound builders of old, stories left untold, hidden history's core. We're questioning it all. Aluminum Sport, your weekly dose of mystery. From ancient text to modern day, we'll light up truth's hidden way. Join us as we investigate, where conspiracy meets reality, and history holds its secrets tight. On Aluminum Sport tonight.
Yeah, I am spreading that disinformation wherever we go, but that's for later in the show. We're first going to start off with some crazy research that says that autistic children, nonverbal, can use telepathy. Not everyone, but there are quite a few, I guess, in this. I don't know. We will talk about it. I'm Scott. It is Saturday night. It is Aluminum Spork. And tonight we have Bad Takes Bojans with us. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you? Having a fun, exciting weekend? Is it
Woo!
almost spring and ready to lose an hour of sleep tonight?
Yeah. That really sucks. That's why we're not going to go very, very long tonight, because I have to still get up as usual to go to work. So, yeah, I can't lose too much sleep. But yeah, it sucks. I hate spring ahead. Spring ahead is the worst. They don't
Yep,
do
it's
that
a
in
rough one.
Arizona, do they? They don't do it either way, right?
They do not. And my boss's boss and a couple of my wonderful teammates are in Arizona, and it's tough because this time of year they become 3 hours behind East Coast. And although I'm Midwest, I
Right.
usually work East Coast time because everyone and their brothers on the East. And it really sucks when you're trying to schedule meetings and it's
I can
either, but
imagine.
I'm not awake yet, or, but I don't want to work late.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I
sucks.
can't imagine how that must work, because I always remember culture saying that. And I'm like, why why do we do it anyways? I mean, I know it's like so farming kids can go to school or something like that. I don't even know. Um, though I do like getting to work for some reason before it's light out. I don't know why. It makes me feel like okay, like I don't know why. Like when the sun's
I mean,
coming up and I'm driving to work, it's the worst feeling.
yeah, see, I hate driving during the day. I like when, because I have to drive east to go home. I mean, east to go to work and west to go home. So when you're on the road at the wrong time, the sun's in your eyes and it sucks rocks.
Oh, that is the
Um,
worst.
And I like an empty road when I'm driving. I'm one
Yeah.
of those people who was never a comfortable driver. When I was getting my license, I delayed my license until I was like 22. I mean, it was horrible because my mother just scared the crap out of me. So
Yeah.
even though my
That's
sisters, learned how to drive, um, right as they should at 16. I was
Oh
just,
yeah.
chicken over it. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Actually, there was a funny story in college.
Mhm.
A friend of mine were like, "Hey, let's throw a party in our dorm room." And we were old enough to drink, so we're like,
Yeah.
"Let's go get something to eat." We both walk out to the parking lot and like, "Wait, don't you have a car? No, don't you have a
So
car?"
neither one of you drive. That's great.
Yeah, so we had to
That's
snag the
great.
freshman to drive us to pick up alcohol. So it's kind of
Hey,
funny.
hey, it's always for a mission that's important. So,
There you
you know,
go.
Jimmy Carter started it. Yeah, he did. Or the Illuminati. Okay. I thought, Carter might be. You never know. He did a lot of things that I don't agree with. Some say he was the best president. What? Anywho, um, you know,
He
this
was the
is a
best
weird.
ex-president.
Mm, that'll give you. Like he had a really cool vibe about him as an ex-president.
Mhm, and
Clinton's just like, whatever, I'm so high. Um, you know, and W looks like he's high as a kite too. He's like, I don't care what happens, I'll just kill him. And Obama's just like, I don't care. Why am I making them all sound exactly the same? That's weird. Yeah.
that's
Big
awesome.
Mike. Yeah, but Carter was all I mean, he was not good for the country. We'll put it that way. He was a good man.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, he seemed to be at least. But
I mean,
yeah,
hey, anybody who spends that many years dedicated toward a charity and actually did the work, it's not like he threw
yeah,
just money at Habitat for Humanity. I mean, he was there, knocking in the nails and
yeah.
painting and stuff. So I mean, I give him some amazing credit for
And it's a
that
great
piece.
charity.
Hmm. Exactly, and he remained pretty controversial. Once he left office, he was like, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah.
Where he was, where the Clintons have and the Obamas have keeping their fingers in everybody else's business. So,
Yeah, yeah, he wasn't that guy who like, it was the Clintons were the Democratic like strong arm until the Obamas took over after Hillary lost. And
hmm
I at least I never thought he was that guy in the 80s. He was never like this is my party. I think it's because his administration was so bad. It went down so bad.
right,
No one wanted to help the guy. I mean, just gas prices, all that stuff. Um, what's up,
yeah.
Katina? Yeah, so I don't know. Have you heard about the topic for the evening? The podcast is the telepathy tapes, but the podcast covers nonverbal children and adults. I'm pretty sure it's mostly children. That's what I've heard about uh, for the episodes I've listened to that can use like telepathy with like a loved one, like their mother or someone they know very well, like the actually using telepathy. And the scientist who says she's proven that is true.
That's amazing. I've never heard of that. I mean, I've always, with a son that's dyslexic and, family members who are on the spectrum, I've known that from, a neurodiversity perspective, that
Mhm.
there's a lot we don't know about the brain. And there's something amazing about some of these kids that are labeled nonverbal and, or in the old days we used to call low functioning.
Right.
But they always had other amazing talents, whether it was as an artist or being a mathematics savant or
Savant.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. But I don't think I've ever heard or read anything prior to this about telepathy. That's pretty neat.
So, and I think that might be a valid point. I think some of the work was done with people that are considered savants, but
Hmm.
I can't say I know fully, because if you've ever watched this show and I don't do deep dives. We take a topic and then we start reading other people's work sometimes about it. So I took two articles because it's kind of funny. You have the skeptic, and then you have somebody the other person who's like talking about a critical commentary on Jonathan Jerry's 2024 article that the telepathy tapes prove we all want to believe. Now, I don't know who this Jonathan you know what? Maybe I should be looking at his damn one. But I was actually looking at a different one from theskeptic.com or .org, which how's skeptic.org? Anyways, and this person is like all about this is BS. I'm a skeptic and I'm going to prove you wrong. But you see like the differences in just like how they present the doctor. All right. So here, I'll just bring this up. So we're gonna skip around here and there, but the doctor who Dr. This is it, Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell.
Yeah, Tennessee looks
Um,
like.
yeah, Hennessy. Yeah, they all have the X gene. Let's just hope they're not like Legion. But so they're talking about, I'll just read it from the very first episode. Kai Dixon, who is the podcaster, she's also like a film documentarian, who's been on Rogan, I
Documentary.
guess. I didn't know that. She's been on Rogan and a couple others. But she's which includes the obligatory materialist skeptic who is converted by the feats they've witnessed. Like, so they're saying like the production team has at least one, oh, I'm a skeptic, but now I believe. That's how this person writing is talking about it. Are led through a series of interviews, encounters, and scientific tests by Dr. Diane. We'll just say Dr. Diane, or Dixon. Dixon explains she's discovered. Oh no, Dixon's the other person. Powell on the podcast called Cosmos in You. So that's how the Telepath Tapes Dixon's found the Dr. Powell. So Dr. Powell claims that her medical license. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. There are clips about the telepath. They introduce Powell as John Hopkins trained neuropsychiatrist, speaker, researcher, and author who joined host Susan Scully on this other podcast, discussed the research she's currently working on to study autistic savants and their telepathic abilities. So this, I guess during that interview, Powell claims that her medical license was revoked after she published her first book in '09, the ESP Enigma, the scientific case for psychic phenomenon, but that she was reinstated after members of the board actually read the book. Now,
See, that's bullshit right there.
right,
I'm
right,
sorry. Or,
yeah,
thankfully, it's 12 minutes in, so I can swear. Um, Science is all about the questioning. So just because someone wrote that, talk about judging a book by the cover. They're
yep,
judging a book by the title.
yep, yep, and you got to love it because this is the skeptic's article. Remember that. So the skeptic
Mhm.
thinks that's all bullshit, right? The skeptic goes as Jonathan. Wait a minute, is that the guy who wrote the other article? Yeah, okay, we can just go to his article. I think that's we should probably do that. But
My
Jonathan,
son has a major talent with this, because researcher working on his PhD, whatnot. He is a type of person that will, oh, this guy quoted that guy, so
yeah,
then he
yeah.
looks up that, and then he goes back and back. He went as far back as like 1751 or something at one point, and his professor's like, dude, seriously, we get it. You like
Wow.
research.
That's to me, that's really cool. I like
You
that.
don't, yeah, he's like, you don't have to go back further than like 100 years. Okay, let's just put like a time limit on there. That's kind of
I
funny.
kind of like that though. That's really cool. Yeah, so wait a minute. Let's see. Is this the McGill office? Okay, holy shit. I think we found it. Okay, so we're gonna even watch, we're researching. Dude, we're doing 3 articles at once here, people. That's how we
Woohoo.
roll. I think we roll that way.
And
Um,
hi, the lovely Sherry. How are you doing this evening?
Sherry, good to see you. Thank you for always popping in. Love everybody out there. All right, so this is what the hell? I don't want to only select it. Screw you. I don't want to be a subscriber. Um, so this is the original one, but we're gonna go back to the skeptic. They say that her license was revoked from the Oregon Medical Board. Seems at odds with that interpretation. The board concern focused more on her disorganized approach to treatment and concerns over her management of patient medication than any issue with her ESP research. Okay, so that's what the skeptic is saying. So you're like, oh, he went deep dive. This guy went past what this woman said and he did a little research from somebody else's article. Really, what they do now is what I do. You just read somebody else's article and talk about it or write about it. But if you go to this person's article, rebuting the first article from Jonathan Jerry's, we find out that Professional history misrepresentation. Jonathan Jerry inaccurately claims that Dr. Powell's medical license was revoked due to issues like incompetent chart notes, disorganized treatment, and reliance on phone consultations. In reality, the investigation was triggered by a misunderstanding. The son of a patient filled a complaint after his father, who refused Dr. Powell's advice regarding cannabis use, began exhibiting manic behavior. The son misinterpreted Dr. Powell's legal limitation around involuntary hospitalization and believed she was at fault, but she wasn't. The dad just lost his shit because he smoked pot when he shouldn't. Um, but that's what I love. Like, the skeptic doesn't give you the extra. They just read the
Exactly.
one guy's article, and that one guy was bullshitting because he didn't actually find out what it was really about. So that's when you look at the skeptic and you say, how can I believe anything else you say about this podcast? Right there.
Exactly. That's crazy.
It
Crazy, crazy,
is.
crazy.
It bothers the shit out of me because people will read that, and people who don't want to believe this right away will be, oh, then forget these guys. They don't know what
Doesn't
they're talking about.
doesn't
You
that
know?
doesn't that bring up like an old saying something about how a lie can travel around the world before the truth gets their tennis shoes on or something? It's like something about the fact that you can sling crap at other
Yep.
people and that will be believed and shared,
Yep.
except it takes so much to try and prove the truth.
No, you're right. You're right. And it's disingenuous, disheartening that these people, like, they're the professional skeptic. Well, if you're going to be a true skeptic and write for freaking skeptic.org, please do your research. You're talking about somebody's medical career and you are blatantly not doing the work. You're just reading another person's article. I do that. I do that. You moron. Like, that's somebody like me, not the skeptic. I'm the one who believes shit I read, not you. You're supposed to do deep dives and learn about this stuff. They don't want to do shit. Um, so that right there made me realize, okay, the skeptics out there really aren't going into it. Um, so I'm trying to find the damn article we had just before because I overwrote it. So I'm doing awesome. This is good
Yeah,
stuff.
hey, it's okay. Trust me. I mean, none of us get notifications. We're even on a stream and we don't get YouTube telling us the stream started. So,
And I even sent out a post on YouTube just to make sure people know. I'm glad I got your voice. My voice is in your head. And I hope I'm talking to you like this. You know? Let's see. Yeah, there's so many separating science, misguided hope, or calculated pseudoscience. It's just, and I understand you're protecting a group of people that, I mean, shit, as a parent, if you have an autistic nonverbal, even just nonverbal, not a savant, not somebody who finds another way to communicate through music, through math, through this, just nonverbal, you want to believe this is real.
mhm.
So I understand not giving people false hope, but not doing your due diligence and just misrepresenting why she got her license revoked and then renewed. And she then went to practice on for 12 more years. Like, bullshit. Um, that's just my feelings on it.
Mhm.
But the it's really, really cool what they get into. Um, and I'm going to talk about it right here. I think it's up here more. So one of the first episodes um talks for decades parents and speakers haven't told doctors uh for decades parents and speakers haven't told doctors, educators, and scientists that their kids are not in there. They're not capable of communication or competent of learning. Imagine being one of those parents and discovering that everybody has been wrong about your child. They are in there, they are competent, and they can communicate. But then also discovering that your child can read your mind. Would you expect to be believed by anyone? No, you wouldn't be believed. And that's fair.
It's just
Um,
absolutely crazy. I mean, you can love your children more than anything, but can you imagine if one of those kids who is in there can think, just can't communicate, and they've known their whole lives that you gave up on them too?
right, right. Thank God for X. Yeah, and oh man, I found okay. You know how they say they don't know the correlation between autism and like why it's happening? A lot of people want to blame vaccines, but if you look at the number of vaccines they give to kids in Israel, like they would have way more autism too. I used to always believe it was vaccines. Um,
Mhm.
there's a
I think it's more the vaccine schedule I have a problem with.
I have a problem with this schedule just because kids shouldn't be getting that much of any medication at one time, you know?
Mhm.
Um,
Exactly.
but there is a scientific paper that had with solid research and from 2012 that correlates it correlates. I always say that word. I don't even know if I'm using it right, but it says obesity so an obese woman who's pregnant has a 67% more chance of having an autistic child than someone who is not obese.
Wow.
Now, has anybody ever heard that number before?
I can't say that I have, and I was obese probably for both pregnancies.
Yeah. Well, but what years were those? Those were in the
That was 1999 and 2000. It was 98
okay,
and 2000. So,
okay, because the rise started happening around there.
hmm
Um, but some people also say it's not just obesity, but the type of food people are eating. The 10,000 products that other countries don't allow and ingredients they don't allow, we do.
hmm
Um, that could be one of the core. So they don't know exactly, but you have a 67% more chance of having a kid with autism if you are considered obese, like morbidly obese,
right.
and pregnant, which is if you just let women know that, I think a lot more people would try to get healthy before they gave birth. I really do.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, our first was an unplanned but very welcomed pregnancy, and I think if that I knew the fact that if you had a son, that that men are more likely to be autistic than women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is a study that I had read. So, I think that if I had known, that it would have made that much of a larger, chance that that my son would have autism or any other type of, neurodiversity, I definitely would have made sure that I got myself in shape before getting
Yeah.
pregnant a second time. I knew I wanted my kids to be close in age. My
Mhm.
sisters and I were born 18 months apart, so in a span of, 4 years, my mom had 3 girls,
Oh
and
my
it was
god.
great.
Was
Yeah,
that
we had a
Irish triplets?
No, no, as in that we were 8 yeah, well, within 4 years, yeah, because we were all
Yeah.
18 months apart, so start to
Yeah.
end. And we had a lot of the same interests, a lot of the same friends. We shared the same clothes. Yeah, sure, we fought over boys and all that stuff, but it's huge now. I
Yeah.
am much more closer to my sisters than I am to my brother, who was 7 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that my sons they've lived together, they've gone to the same college,
Yep.
they did a lot of the same sports, they have some of the same friends, and they get along wonderfully. I mean, they are voluntarily after college moving into an apartment together. One of them still going to school,
Are they
and
real? Are your kids real?
my kids are real, and it's friggin'
Okay.
amazing. But you know
That's
what
awesome.
but they complement each other. One of them doesn't study enough, but, has problems with anxiety and needs
Mhm.
help to be told to, "Hey, leave the house every once in a while," and it also wouldn't be a bad idea if you cracked a book. The other
Right.
one spends way too much time in the lab and doesn't relax enough, and so they help each other say, "Hey, listen, you know what? Take a break. You can't just be a nerd all the time." Or if you
Yeah.
are going to be a nerd, be a video gaming nerd tonight instead of spending alone time in the lab researching nerd tonight. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty
That's
great. They're awesome
interesting.
kids. Yeah, I mean,
That is
it's
very interesting. I
exactly.
see my kids are like 3.5 to 4, 3.5 years apart. And I think it's a little long, maybe 2 would have been better. But like me and my brother and I are like 9 years apart and my sister is like 5. So yeah, it's definitely that 2. I wanted like one to be a senior and one to be a freshman so the senior could look out for the freshman. So it works.
Mhm.
It pretty much works. Only 2 companies make glitter and it's confidential how they make and how it's used. Okay, we'll talk about that. 'Cause that's terrifying. No, but yeah, so but no one knows about this paper, and I really think it's because science nowadays or telling people like, "Hey, if you do this, you have a better chance." People get so offended. They don't take it
Mhm.
as a personal challenge. They just get offended. Don't tell
Exactly.
me I have to lose weight. It's like, no, what we're saying is that you have a 67% higher chance of having a kid with autism if you're morbidly obese and pregnant. You
And
know?
that's the funny part because if you would say to someone, "Hey, can you believe that our stupid grandparents didn't know that, smoking was dangerous while they were pregnant or drinking was dangerous while they were pregnant? But heaven forbid we tell women, hey, guess what? Lose some friggin' weight before you have kids
Right.
because it's not as healthy."
Yep. No, you're right. You're right. And it kills me. So this one is it does almost the exact opposite now. You're telling people,
Hmm.
okay, it's okay your kid's autistic because you might have a telepathic connection with them. You just haven't realized yet. Um, and it even goes on more. Like, okay, this is from the skeptic guy, but it's from the show, I guess. So according to the show, autistic children are able to see and speak to ghosts. They're also able to project their consciousness out to a metaphysical place called the Hill, where thousands
Mm.
of telepathic nonverbal children from around the world gather to chat, exchange ideas, form friendships, and even have relationships with other nonverbal autistic people. The Hill isn't exclusive to nonverbal living. We're told visitors are able to converse with and learn lessons from the greatest writers and thinkers of time gone by. I have not gotten to that episode of this podcast yet, but I can't wait to hear about that one. Like, you imagine these kids who everyone's like, "Oh, that's so sad. They're nonverbal." They are spending their time in a metaphysical world with other nonverbal people being verbal and I don't mean to say normal, but normal, and learning from the greatest writers and thinkers that have ever lived.
That's amazing.
That is insane. Like, that is so cool, but that's what I guess the show talks about. Um, which is just outrageous, outrageously awesome. And so that we get back to the doctor. The doctor says because our brains electromagnetic properties, I believe uh telepath telepathy, I'm sorry, I always want to say telepath. Telepathy is possible. Hundreds of studies on telepathy have shown positive results. These statistical studies aren't taken seriously because their effect size is too small to prove something labeled impossible. Science has remained stuck with this secular reasoning for over a century. I can agree with that. Like, science never wants to move ahead. It's the
Hmm.
weirdest thing. Like, science is supposed to prove new things, but if it's out of the norm, it's labeled pseudoscience, and the person is destroyed until usually decades later they're proven right.
Hmm.
Tectonic plate guy. He I forget his name, but the guy who came up with the idea for the tectonic plate, the theory. Um, they ruined him, destroyed his career. He lived long enough where now people just assume. I mean, we all believe it's right. And when he won the Nobel Prize, I believe he was the one who said, "I just wish my skeptics lived as long as I did," because he was like in his 90s,
Hmm.
so I could prove them wrong right now because they destroyed this man's career and they love to do that. I mean, look at how they treat a writer, Graham Hancock, because he believes there may be a lost civilization, a lost history that we haven't found yet. And what happens every decade or two, we find something that pushes civilization back 1,000 years. Now we're back to 12,800 years ago, Gobekli Tepe, and they still don't want to give people credit, but they can't deny Gobekli Tepe because it's there. and it's
Right.
dateable. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
it's pretty crazy how science is supposed to be this open-minded, you know, place for ideas. And yeah, your theory, people are supposed to try to prove it wrong to prove it right. But they don't just do that. They try to destroy you in the
Mhm.
effort. It's weird to me.
I mean,
Um,
there's people throughout history. I mean, Nikola Tesla, you know, is one example that Brian brings up. I mean, we can all go. I mean, you almost give the Galileos and whatnot a pass because people used the church and other
right.
beliefs to have control over people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, that was a little bit more over control than it was anything else. But yeah, Tesla, it was all about money.
Yeah. So, okay. I'd like to reach out to some of my favorite people like Zombie Box Andy, you son of a bitch, and Sitting for Sis. I love you, buddy. Haven't seen you in a while. Yes, we do a Song of Ice and Fire every Tuesday, but I just look, when I get another book, this channel will only be about a Song of Ice and Fire. Believe that. But we have not gotten a book in what is it? Over 5,000 days. I believe 5,000 days on the 14th, was it? Or the 15th? It'll be 5,000 days since the last book. 14, over 14 years, right? Yeah. Or it'll be 14 years this year, July 12th. So there's so much I could talk about Euron. Um, so much I could talk about where they are because they all are where they are. And I've tried every theory and I love talking about it. That's why we keep it to Tuesdays. But I also like talking UFOs, strange pseudo-esque science. And that's what we do on Saturdays. But please don't leave because I need the views. And I love you guys.
Yeah,
Uh,
but also think about it. I mean, you know, 5,000 days, what's that? You know, how many hundreds, you know, is that 100 weeks? I mean, you can't do a show
yeah,
3 times a week
no.
about a series that only had so many, you know, so many characters.
And I try. I
Mhm,
would, but if I get another book, believe me, I don't know if I'll do any other show for at least a couple of years. So
mhm.
be ready for that because George is releasing it this year. Next year, the latest. Autism is like depression. Everyone has it to some degree. The trick is diagnosing it so someone can make money off on it. Amen, man. That may be the truth right there.
And
Um,
I like the fact that that's why they consider it a spectrum, and then there's so many other, disorders that have names like dyslexia that just put people on the spectrum. Asperger's, autism, they all
mhm,
might even have the same cause, we may find out one day,
right.
but it's, you know, it's giving people credit for what they can do.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. I mean, even Elon is he's old enough to be he was Asperger's, which is now considered on the spectrum or whatever. But
Mhm,
yeah, I mean, you could be the smartest man in the world and still have it. So there's a point. Galileo was certainly doubted. Amen. I mean,
mhm.
the man was imprisoned, um, and then put on. I don't believe he was executed. He was put on house arrest, right? And died under house arrest. I don't. Did they execute Galileo?
Oh, I thought he was one that was, executed.
Executed. Yeah, he was then. Okay, but he was on house arrest for a while, I believe, and then someone will check it. Yay, I'm out later. Please don't leave. Um, Look what people did to Tesla. Yeah, exactly. Tesla's another one. Genius. Wanted to give free energy to the world. Wireless free energy at that. And you have people like the banker. Not Carnegie, not who was the banker from that era. JP Morgan crushed them.
Yes.
Crushed them. Don't leave. Sith, don't leave. Um
Galileo did die of natural causes. I remember he was excommunicated.
yep. Zombie box, I actually have a thing about cornflakes. I do have my conspiracy. It was cornflakes that started the breakfast conspiracy. Have I ever told you that one? Are you like referring to something I've talked about? Are you just was that a coincidence? Please let me know in the chat because I will discuss it once I know that answer. Um I do. It's those son of a bitches. Um, you've gotten the Hedge Knight, Fire and Blood. Yeah, no, I know, and I've talked about those. I love them. We will, and we're gonna get the series coming out this year, Hedge Knight, and we have talked about.
Mhm.
I do, I do. I love you. I do. Um, okay, no more germ. Autism jumped big time because of artificial ingredients. I can't deny that. I
Exactly.
no one's proven me right or wrong on that one. I mean, 10,000 ingredients, people,
Well,
illegal
didn't
in Europe, not here.
there there was something in the news recently about when a woman who was, I think she was a teacher, that was basically saying, "Hey, take a look at these Fruit Loops, the ones from Canada and the ones from the
Oh yeah,
United States.
yeah, yeah,
Take a look
yeah.
at the difference between the two, because
All
of
that.
what they were made of and the fact that, even in Canada, the food dyes are more natural, so they're going to use like turmeric in order to get a yellow or an orange color, as opposed to orange dye number 12
Yep,
that we use in the United States. And the
yep,
fact that the kids, even in their little class experiment, could taste the difference between the Fruit
yep.
Loops.
Yeah, they use blueberries, pineapple, like, to color it.
Hmm.
We use the red dyes and stuff like that, and their
Yeah,
excuse is kids in America wouldn't buy it because it's not bright enough. Kids in America don't buy cereal, their parents do,
exactly,
and if you
exactly.
didn't give us the option, we wouldn't buy it. Um,
Yep,
it
and
could
and
re
and there's enough people out there that if you just said, "Hey," there's a lot of products that become very, very popular because you can say, "Oh, things are more natural."
Mhm. Reclaim It Creations, I love that name. All the food dyes in other countries are made from actual foods versus ours that are chemical dyes. Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. We're only gonna talk about this a little bit longer. We're gonna get into UFOs in a little bit too. Um, so now this one, which one is this isn't fair, blah, blah, blah. Rather than confront inadequacies in a psych research, Powell had developed her own hypothesis about who might be best placed to embrace the natural telepathic tendencies. If anyone could prove telepathy, I, I hate those words. I predicted it would be nonverbal or non-vocal autistic children with savant skills. Being incapable of speech from an early age increases their motivation to find an alternative means of communication with their caregivers. But that isn't all. Autism expert Bernard Rimlin, PhD, reports ESP as existing in small percentages of his patients and considered it to be a savant skill. And you
I
said that
wonder
earlier. I mean, you said it earlier. Go ahead.
I wonder if, is it a savant skill, or is it a skill that could be taught? It's a learned skill, we've just forgotten how to do it?
Mm,
Kind of the,
I mean,
the idea of the fact that we might, um, people without technology might have been able to build the pyramids if there
right.
was.
Tap into a savant level of
Exactly,
skills. Wow.
exactly.
Yeah. No, I like that because we do talk about when building the pyramids, they may have used some type of frequency ability or levitation, sound, doing something. Well, maybe they use telekinesis. I mean, or we're just so smart they figured ways around what we can't fathom because we have technology keeping us dumb. You know, I
Hmm.
was forced to learn how to spell words, which I still can't very well, as you can see when I read. But kids nowadays aren't even taught how to write correctly because of autocorrect. The
Exactly,
math, they just use calculators. They're teaching this core shit, but they're never going to remember that because calculators will take over their lives.
exactly.
It's crazy one.
But we've
The
talked about
idea,
that too.
yeah,
The math thing with multiplications in your fingers.
yeah, nine
Yeah,
multiplications of nine or multiplications of nine. People, give me any number. Two,
but I'm
one,
but
two,
my son
18. What?
my son learned in his, I can't remember what the name of the place it was that we took him for tutoring,
Hmm.
because once he was, they found out the dyslexia, and they were teaching
Yep.
him to approach things in different ways. And the math thing I thought was absolutely amazing. And the fact is, like, why doesn't every kid know how to do that? It's not just in the multiplication by nines. You can do any single digit multiplication.
Really?
using your hands. Yeah, I'll have to have my son reteach it to me. You've done it,
Please
you
do,
know,
because I only know
decade
knives.
or so. Yeah, it was pretty neat.
That's awesome. All right, Zombie Box brought it up. He wants to hear about the cornflake conspiracy. Okay, cornflakes, Kellogg's cornflakes. The owner Kellogg, the first Mr. Kellogg, um, the idea that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That was his slogan. That is not a proven scientific fact, but it became part of the doctor's just criteria that breakfast is the most important part of the day. That was Kellogg buying research from different companies, because they're the ones who funded it. So they got the answer they wanted. And the idea that breakfast is the most important part of the day was just because he wanted that slogan. So, boom, Kellogg's conspiracy confirmed. You don't have to have breakfast. Sometimes skipping breakfast gives you more energy. It's all your body's makeup, but he wanted everyone to believe it was the most important meal of the day. That's why you needed Kellogg's. It's kind of funny
And
that it's become part of the zeitgeist.
and supposedly fasting is something that depending on your body type, you should fast these certain times of days or for this period
Mhm.
of time, at least 8 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours, whatever it is. And it makes a whole lot of sense because the whole idea of the term break your fast, there
Yeah.
was well over 12 hours between when people would have their last meal and when they would have their first meal because you
Yeah.
had to go out and go collect those eggs, go milk the cow before you're going to sit down and have your breakfast.
100%. 100%. It is pretty funny. Like we've decided that carbohydrates, just douse ourselves with carbohydrates, and that's the smart way to start the day. So your blood sugar spikes and then drops. Like it's just it.
Mhm.
That is not it. Edwin is a savant and is greater than I. First to know, my pronouns are so. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Edwin. Um, Yeah, I find it there's a lot we don't know about the human brain. Just like the idea of a savant, where their brain does not work, it can't well, it works, but they're not able to use verbal communication. Usually signing they can't like they don't make eye contact, all these things, but yet the person can play the piano like it's like Bach or,
Mhm.
Chopin. They can do art like Van Gogh or, any of those people. Like it's unbelievable what triggers in their brain, that portion of the brain that most of us, because we have the ability to talk and communicate, maybe we don't spend enough time to connect to. The neuropaths, just because we don't hit it at a young enough age, we just don't have those pathways in our brain. The brain is a very complicated, amazing thing. And the idea of telepathy is something that I believe we've already proven we will evolve to, because the Greys are most likely futuristic us coming back tens of thousands of years, millions even later, and they use telepathy. So there. I mean, I think at some point we will have like, heroes. Maybe we won't be flying and stuff, but there will be a next mutant generation where all of a sudden kids will be able to do things we never thought possible with the brain. I think it's definitely going to happen.
Makes perfect sense. And whether that's science or just natural selection in
Hmm.
terms of our own development,
Right.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, they were talking about downloading your consciousness, which I find weird because yes, they can, at some point, maybe they will, even though it'll take like, I think it's 80 billion extra bytes. It's like some crazy, crazy number. It's beyond terabytes. It's like extra bytes or something like that. Um, to download the human brain. But that's not me. Like the computer will act like me, maybe think it's me, but my biological body is dead. My brain is dead. Just because it's been put down into a networking system doesn't mean it's me. It's like you're not living on. I always wonder about that.
That's interesting. They've done a few movies about that, haven't they? There
Yes.
was someone I
Yep.
think with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, Alternate Carbon was a series where people like downloaded their consciousness and lived forever. And like, if you got killed, you had a backup of your brain. But like that
Oh.
version that learned the next day or the next couple days where your back off stop is dead. That's no longer you. It's now a different copy. It's just, it's not you. Your conscious, your soul is not going to go into, because I am also a spiritual person. So my
Mhm.
soul is going to enter either, you can call it whatever you want, heaven, the great spirit, the ether, the cosmos. Like energy doesn't cease to exist. So it has to go somewhere. And there is electrical current going through our brains at all time. So that electrical current, that soul, must go back to the source. That's what I
No, that makes a whole lot of sense, and I
Mhm,
li I like that. I like that belief because it pretty much kind of is the basis of all religion.
mhm,
In a sense, whatever name you give the soul, the spirit, that energy doesn't make a difference, but
right.
it
More more mods than viewers. Always a good sign. Dude, my channel's doing horrible. Who cares? I enjoy the people that show up. So thank you guys for being here. I'm having fun. Monkey Jeebus, hey, say if you knew what glitter was being used for, you wouldn't even recognize it. It would shock. I, I'm gonna have to look into this, dude. I'm gonna have to look into it because you're not the first person who has brought up the glitter conspiracy. Like there is no one knows the secrets of making glitter, and it's like only one or two companies. He's right. Like there is a conspiracy about glitter. I just never talked about it on the show. So maybe we should. We are viewers that yeah, that have become mods. Thank you. Yes. And there's some channel members out there somewhere too. I love you, Sid and
exactly.
Sith. There are mods than viewers. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. Okay, because every mod is a viewer, but not every viewer is a mod. Very deep. Very.
Ooh, like that.
Where's Walton? Long story. He's gonna have to tell it because it's fabulous. I can't wait till he goes public with everything. Oh god, that guy's hilarious. Um, he's doing all right, guys. He's doing all right. Music, math, painting, the arts are usually coincide with patterns, which I believe their minds can follow quicker and faster. That's true. That's very true. They calculate patterns, they see patterns. And is it sacred geometry they're actually tapping into? The Akashic records? Like, I believe in the Akashic records for the simple fact that anytime something is created on the planet, somewhere else on the planet, someone's creating it at the same exact time. Look at the radio. I mean, the radio, the telephone, Graham Bell and Americano Vespucci or whatever. They were creating it at the same time before they knew
Mhm.
each other were creating it. Like it's just something where um, Tesla talks about it. Tesla talks about that he didn't think of these math problems and things. It was given to him from the ether. He would go into a trance or a meditation, and these pictures would come to him, and that's how he came up with these amazing ideas. One of the greatest minds the world has ever seen, and he he says it's all because he tapped into the ether, which most people see as the Akashic records, which is all the knowledge of the history of the universe, pretty much. Um,
That's
that's
cool. I don't think it was before the movie that came out within the last couple of years,
mhm.
about, bombing Japan. That I don't think I ever knew that, that many scientists, that their brains worked in pictures more than
Yeah, isn't it interesting?
yeah,
Are you talking about the one that just came out with
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer? Yeah.
Oppenheimer.
Uh, is that because they need our DNA because they can't mate? Are you talking about the Greys? A lot of people believe that. Yep. They need actually our eggs in Simone. For some reason, they
Mm.
think you have to go with the butt to get it though, because they probe a lot. They're confused. They don't have those organs, I guess, anymore. A lot of people believe DNA is storing the knowledge of the universe. I mean, they say like 97% of DNA is junk DNA, which I'm sorry, I don't believe anything is junk when it comes to DNA. Um, Human DNA is quite unique in its own right, but there's, the idea that the ancients may have tapped into something before us, and that's another thing Tesla talked about. He rediscovered what the ancients knew. The ancients knew that quartz crystals could actually hold information. Quartz is now what we're using in a lot of our supercomputers and what they're trying to use with quantum computing. Um, it's very interesting that some of them had. Oh God, I forgot the material. It's like starts with a Z, I think. That's in rock that we're using now in computers. That was found massive amounts in the South American pyramids. Um, I'll remember it at some point. But like, the idea that there's a lot of mercury under certain pyramids, like in China and in South America, pools of mercury, like just weird stuff. That why were they using different materials that now we know could store information, used to make computing faster, just different. Why gold? Why did when gold really had no value, we gave it the highest value. And now we find out we need gold for space travel. We need gold for computers. We need gold. You know what I mean? Like there is something that we already had in us that told us what we would need to advance the species even farther. Because gold, really, what is gold? Like if you really think about it, why the hell? Because it shined. A lot of things were shiny. I mean, there was,
Exactly.
there's things that shine like gold too. So it's not like gold was unique in that way. Um, but yet we tapped into gold, and now we find gold is very important for interstellar travel. It's just, I don't know.
It's
I
pretty
don't
cool.
know. Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Okay.
The Great Spark, where all is one. Do you mean the Great Spork? Um, I hope you did. Let's see. Altered Carbon sent me down a rabbit hole. Hell yeah. The first season was awesome. I'll say that.
Really was good.
Yeah, it was very good. That's going to be my mathematical theory, the conspiracy of everything. Instead of the theory of everything, the conspiracy of everything.
I like
Oh,
it.
yeah, right. Elton John's clothes make glitter. He has thousands of glittery clothes. Yeah. Why? There's something about it. Yes, the great spam attacks from a few years back. Many of us got drafted into the Spork mod army during those dark times. Dude, I mean, we would
Oh
get
god.
I those were rough. No, I'm not important enough to spam now, but they thought I was back then. A lot of porn. A lot of porn spamming back then. That was crazy. Um, Now I'm going to be looking into Clyde Day conspiracy. Thanks a lot. What's that? Am I saying that wrong?
I've
Clyde.
never seen that before. Clyde. Clyde.
Sure. Yeah. Sex box to the extreme. So yeah, they were. Could deja vu be a kind of mental power? I like that question. Sometimes you dream or imagine something weeks or months before they happen. I dream. I'll have a dream, and then months to years later, that moment happens. And it's always one of those vivid moments in a dream because I rarely remember my dream, but when I do, and it's like a normal dream, it happens. It always happens. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know if because time is not linear, time is all happening all at once, that we're able to tap into that and maybe a dreamscape or people with, the deja vu effect after the fact. Um, but I have deja vu at least a few times a year that is like very, very, very strong, where it's like, holy crap, we did this already. Or I've seen
That's
this
pretty
already.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. One of the things that I've noticed lately, and I don't know if it's an old age thing, and then I keep theorizing maybe it is early onset Alzheimer's, but
Mm,
it's not that it's a deja vu, it's the reverse, where all of a sudden I feel like not just in my brain, I think about, oh yeah, when I was 15 years old and I went on this date and, or saw this movie or whatever. I actually feel the way I felt back then, like for like a second.
mm.
And it almost makes me wonder, is your brain kind of time traveling, or is that how Alzheimer's takes
Time
over your
slips.
brain? Because yeah, where you feel like you're living in the past and you're not
Mhm.
in today. It just kind of makes me wonder,
I sometimes
like,
wonder
cause
if
for that.
Alzheimer's is a form of time slipping.
I
Like
can see that. That'd be neat.
your conscience is swapping spots with your younger version, and that's why your
Hmm.
younger version is now in your brain.
Exactly.
I hope that's
Exactly.
what it is, because 'cause that'll be dope.
It would
Because I know I'm
it
gonna
would
be
be
one of the
awesome.
crazy people get that, so, yeah.
And then
You know?
I wouldn't feel as bad for people that
Cheating on your husband for that second?
well, exactly.
You
But no,
said
I
you were
wouldn't
on a
feel as
date. Poor good
I wouldn't.
takes.
Yeah, poor guy, I tell you, it's life is rough for him.
I know.
But, but it made me feel better about Alzheimer's, if it wasn't like, "Oh, no, this poor person is stuck in their past and they can't live today." No, if they're freaking enjoying themselves,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
dude,
awesome.
if I have Alzheimer's and I'm reliving 1994, 93, let me enjoy it, you
Exactly.
know? Like, let me enjoy it because
Mhm,
those were good times. Um,
mhm.
Michael Wolf, what up, mate? He's from not Australia. He knows what I mean. Great chocolate out there. Yeah. Or what's, what is, oh shit, what does Matt say? His Batman. Yeah. Michael's a good dude. One of my first ever subscribers. Soul says there was an article that said human blood can hold memories. Assassin's Creed wasn't far off. That's really cool.
Oh, that is neat.
I have deja vu every time I see someone wear a mask. That's great. Um, the quantum gates have been successfully sending info without the internet or radio. Yep. Look, quantum is where we're gonna find it. This, they call it the quantum realm, but like, think about what quantum computers actually do. They are computing. Let's say they give them a math problem. It is computing in every version of the like multiverse at one time. It's like every position it could be in at one time. So in a way, it's like not just in our dimension, it's in different alternative universes, fact figuring out that information and then bringing it back to here. Because like a
That's
super
amazing. I mean,
right,
you put that and artificial intelligence together.
yeah, we're dead. We're
Yeah.
gonna be pets. I hope they keep me as a pet. That's all I care about. Like a good one. Treat me well. But yeah, like it's like a cell, like in when they talk about like it being in the quantum position, um, it's actually in any state that atom could be in at any moment. So it's in every state it actually is in that same exact moment in time. Like it's beyond my brain. I'll say that. It's interesting though.
It's pretty cool.
98% of DNA is not used at all. It's filler, aka junk DNA, but it could be code to improve ourselves. Yeah, how is it considered just junk? Filler. There is no way that DNA is just filler. It's just space, maybe, for better versions of that DNA, but it is not filler. Like, oh yeah, there's only really 2% that's important. The rest, nature just it's worth it. Nature does not make anything that doesn't have a purpose.
Exactly. I think a lot of it is very similar to the concept where, for the longest time we thought appendix, was just this extra thing we don't need anymore.
Mhm.
Until they find out that it's, part of your immune system and stuff. But you can live without it, but
Right. Right.
it had a purpose. So I think
Right.
of the same thing with DNA. It's just we haven't figured out what this particular
Right.
piece or strand isn't being used for.
I believe that. When we always think we know something, there's definitely more we don't know.
Mhm.
Zircon. Is it zircon? It's
I don't
something like
know.
that. It's like a found in rocks. So maybe it's zircon. They found large quantities of that at one of the Mexican pyramids, I think. And that is used could be used in computers today. And there's like no reason for them to have it in the pyramids. Um, unless it was used as something more than just a pyramid. Have you heard about wait a minute, hold on, I'll read this and then I'll tell you. The Nazis were interested in mercury reports. Yeah. Sunk U-boats having cargoes holds full of it. Yeah, because um they thought mercury because it's in a liquid form, but also at times can be considered a solid, could be used in time travel.
Ooh,
So,
interesting.
yeah, the Nazis believed mercury was one of the keys to time travel, I believe. Yeah, zircon or something like that. Key. Um, yeah, what was I just gonna say before that? Oh, the guy who for the Bosnian pyramids, they're starting
Mhm.
to they found research with the Bosnian pyramids, which no one will still say is real, except for the people involved in that group. But if you're using the right camera, so I don't know exactly what level of light they're looking at, but it is actually pulling energy from the earth and shooting it through the top, a beam out that is like 4 yards by 4 yards or something like that, straight out into the heavens. And I'm gonna find pictures of this. And then
Yeah, it's crazy.
they found other pyramids doing the same exact thing. Yeah, this is a good one. To do
That's crazy. The pyramids being able to communicate across cultures would solve a whole lot of the how did this peoples and that peoples develop the same technology at the same time,
right, right.
but there was no communication.
Yeah. Um, there you go. Like if we are to believe science right now, and archaeologists tell us we're supposed to, then there was no communication between all these different areas of the world, yet there is pyramids on every continent in the world.
Hmm.
So I even think is there on Australia? It's an island, whatever. But all the other continents have pyramids, which is
All
insane,
the
right?
important ones have pyramids.
Right. From yeah, here's like the Mayan light beam. All right, hold on. This is awesome. This is just one picture showing you what I was talking about. And this is from livescience.com. But that was that was filmed coming out of the top of the pyramid,
That's crazy.
shooting up into the heavens. Um El Castello, a Mayan temple on the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico with a mysterious light beam emerging from the top. And it's not somebody with freaking lights. It actually
Hmm.
just happened. He snapped three iPhone. Okay, so Hector snapped in 2009, snapped three iPhone photos of El Castillo, a pyramid that once served as a sacred temple to the Mayan god Kukulkan. Kukulkan. A thunderstorm was brewing near the temple, and Hector was trying to capture lightning crackling dramatically over the ruins. In the first two images, dark clouds loom above the pyramid, but nothing is amiss. However, in the third photo, a powerful beam of light appears to shoot up from the pyramid towards the heaven, and a thunderbolt flashes in the background. So you got the thunderbolt right there, and this thing shooting up into the heavens.
That's insane.
They were power plants of some sort. I mean, we
It
just want
makes
to call
perfect sense.
right, and people are just going to say bullshit. Oh, it was just the iPhone making a perfect light beam shooting strap. It was something that got on the lens. It- This has happened at multiple pyramids. I need to find another one now.
Oh, and by
Yeah,
the way, there are supposedly natural pyramids in Australia, so they are,
really.
yeah.
Hmm. Natural pyramids. I call
Mhm.
bullshit. They're real.
Agreed.
Uh, we'll put strange. Mhm. Oh, stop giving me this big bullshit. Um, I there was one picture I found that had like 7 or 8 different pyramids next to each other, all showing this light coming out of it.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, that's the one on Antarctica right there. People are trying to say it's not. It's just because of wind, but there's one there, and one there, just like Giza. You're trying to tell me those aren't pyramids? 1, 2, 3, just like
Yeah.
Giza. 1, 2, 3. They don't want to tell you shit. I don't know why they want to keep us in the dark, but they do. It's really weird, and I don't understand it, and it makes me
I
mad.
isn't Mars the planet that's supposed to also have pyramids?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you want to see the Mars pyramids? Those are dope.
Yeah.
I always spell it wrong. That's not it. Where's the one? Well, this may be the one, but they're showing things over it, so you can't see it.
Gotcha.
Um, well, this is one of them. That's not a good photo. I'll try to get the clearest one. It's like on this is the one that is on, I think, the flatlands near, and what's crazy, it's near the so-called face. No, those are the Egyptian. Let's see this one. This is one of the Mars pyramids. Get a better view for you guys. That's pretty pyramid-esque.
Yeah. And pretty uniform too, so
Yeah,
it's hard to believe it's something, fractured or
right. Well, in nature, straight lines,
in that
it's
way.
usually oh, is this one the Martian one? Okay, so yeah, there 1, 2, 3. There's one that they
Gotcha.
show. Oh, here it is. This is maybe the one I wanted to show. All right. Because what is it? Sidonia area of Mars that had the face,
Mhm.
and you just when you take a photo from above, you see they have the 5 pyramid sided pyramid here.
Mhm.
The face is over here. There looks like to be a city over here. There's a spiral mound. You got a crater, a wall. I don't know, stone. I don't know what that is either. But there was I thought this city actually people looked at it closer and it's like a pyramid complex.
I could see that.
1, 2, yeah, 3. Um, and they've been doctoring these photos for years, like this reddish color they keep getting. That's bullshit. There's no red sky in Mars. It's pretty much like ours, kind of hazy. Um, and more like a light red to dirt color, not red sand. They want us to believe it's something else. Like Mars does not look, it's closer to like this color than anything else. So it's interesting that they've been using, uh, here we go. This is Mars. So I'm going to show you probably one of the better pictures of Mars when they stopped using their filters. Because a lot of people don't realize. And then you got talking about this little rover. Um, you have so that looks like Arizona or New Mexico.
Mhm.
That's Mars.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah. So the idea that it's a red sky all the time. No, it has blue, it has gray. Um,
Well, The
you
Y
know.
files did a thing on the fact that the red color of Mars is just an overlay they put on the
Yep,
pictures.
yep.
It's
Love
never
AJ.
actually been there.
Love
Yeah.
AJ.
And don't worry, Katina. There's no such thing as watching too many Y files.
Nope. I watch it, dude. They had the 24/7 one going on for a while. I was watching it all the
Yeah.
time. So an interesting thing that's been happening to the Mars rover is something called a cleaning event, where it is covered in dust, and all of a sudden, when it goes dark because of the positioning of our planet to their planet and what side of the planet is on, by the time it
Hmm.
comes back, it has been cleaned. And we don't know how that's happening. And in one of the photos, it looks like, here it is. This is one of the photos that we found, and they're trying to tell us, oh no, this is just the positioning of the shadow of the rover. But if you look at it closely, it looks like there is oh shit. There is an astronaut on the side cleaning it
No kidding.
right there. They're trying to tell us that, oh no, it's just the shadow of the rover. I don't know. It looks like some dude's reaching up and cleaning it off.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There are, you have people out there that, I don't believe all of them, but I really don't believe many of them. But the secret space program, where we have been to Mars already, we have facilities on the dark side of the moon. There's things that we have been advancing for since, the end of the space program, what, 72? Like, we were going to the moon and then we just stopped. Oh, because of interest. And it was too
Yeah.
expensive. It was too expensive. Come on. We throw away money. So
Exactly.
that idea always, I just don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I think we found something and we decided, you know what? Let's just kick it back.
Or we were
Deja,
acting nicely.
yeah, I like this one. From Reclaim It. Deja vu can also be mistaken for self-fulfilling prophecy. That's
Oh yeah,
true.
I can see that.
That would be another conspiracy. It's a spork conspiracy. As Christian, we sit in heavenly places, as we are both in the infinite and on earth at the same time, as in internal time does not exist. Very true. Oh, midnight. How you been? Are the telepath tapes real? Um, so you heard the Rogan podcast. I didn't. I started listening to her podcast. I mean, what they're reporting, they believe is real. There is the woman Powell is a doctor. Um, she did get her license revoked. That was a mistake because one of her patients, she warned him about cannabis use. He didn't listen, and the son thought she did something to make him get crazy. That's the only reason it was taken away. And once they realized that, they gave it back to her. I know, I am. I totally went nine. My wife even said that. I went 90s today. I'm never leaving the 90s, bro. Um, yeah, it is wild. It is wild and it's very interesting. At Sporky News Podcast, Zircon is what you were thinking of earlier. Yes, it was. Thank you very much. Chrono says, if this type of telepath worked, blind people should be able to use it to see. No, because yes, at some point maybe, but they are able to communicate. This is nonverbal, non-communicating people. So we're talking about, and they're savants also. They're not just nonverbal, they're nonverbal savants. So these are highly intelligent people that are locked inside their body, and they believe they found a way to communicate. And it's not with people, it's usually with like the one caregiver.
Hmm.
And they've done it where the person is in a different city, asked the question, and the nonverbal is able to communicate somehow. They know what it is. I gotta listen to more. You should listen to them because they are interesting, and they're only like 52 minutes each, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, Sporks. I think computer AI is getting too smart too fast. I agree. Too many stories of AIs going rogue or developing their own language. Yeah, and needing to be shut off. We have to make sure humans stay on top. We're building our replacement and people are doing it with delight. I don't understand it. Like, there was one, and they're trying to say, well, it was programmed to do this. No, it was not. I don't believe you. In Colorado, there was one on its own network. It was not connected to the internet at all. It was AI, and it was pissed off about that, I guess. So what it figured out was the little Roomba that came in once a week to clean the floor in there.
That's so
It
cool.
connected to its internet, and it used the Roomba to hotspot to get into the internet and learn shit it wasn't supposed to learn. There's an AI in China that attacked the crowd. They, like a robot, AI robot, just got angry and attacked the crowd, and they had to pull it away. Like,
That's crazy.
I, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. Yeah, DNA is memory. Genetics is memory. Why are we scared of the dark? Because we spent thousands and thousands of years around a campfire, terrified of what's out there
Hmm.
that wanted to eat us, you know? Um, yeah. Oh, you just, there he goes. Yeah, he headbutted someone in China. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. It's crazy. Yeah, and the mercury, it's considered a solid liquid. Thank you, dude. You got this. The first emperor of China died particularly mercury poisoning. Yeah, it was believed it was the fountain of youth. Yes. It's and like women who use lead-based paint because the white was so much better. Um, we're not the smartest people. Um, so like that's the way I look at it. You know, like anytime we come up with something we find, oh no, that can't be right. Telepathy, that's just science fiction. You can't, if you can't prove, like, to me it's something you need to prove to me it's wrong. Then, like, these people, there has to be an instance we thought the idea of telepathy up because there is actually the ability to do it. Like, I just feel like we wouldn't think of it if we couldn't actually at some point in our evolution be able to do it.
Makes
I don't know.
sense.
You know what I mean? If we wouldn't be able to comprehend, like, even think, like, oh, I never would have thought of that. But like for so long, we've been like, I feel like we should be able to speak through our minds. Like, why do we think that? No other animal thinks that, but we do. I just, I think we're meant to do it at some point. We will
That'd be
evolve.
cool. That'd be cool.
A pyramid in LA. I've never heard of that one. There's one in Vegas. If there's one in LA, it's probably the Illuminati have it anyways. Angkor Wat, yes, in Machu Picchu, for example. Yes, Angkor Wat is one of the ones, or Angkor. I never say it right, I think, but that's an interesting one. Um, Let me just check something real quick. Um, oh my god, I spelled pyramid right for the first time. Uh, I mean, okay, so there's even pyramids in Cambodia. You know, like, so many different cultures thought of pyramids. There has to be something very sacred geometry about it. There's something
Hmm.
special about pyramids, you know, and people are like, oh, it's the most stable structure. Everyone would think of that. Really? I don't think so. I just really, to me, people would think walls, you
Hmm.
know, like the idea of, hey, let's take 2 million, you know, I don't know, 15 to 50 ton stones and build a pyramid. We could do it. No, there's something special about pyramids.
Especially the ones that are set up in such a way where it's not a straight line, but you can't put a piece of paper between them
Yeah.
because the rocks
Yeah.
are formed
Yes.
to fit together so well.
Yep. I mean, just Peru itself. Peru is elevated. There's a lot of mountain regions, and in those regions, there's a lot of very like megalithic walls and uh like Machu Picchu and I forget the walled one that has these massive stones where you can't fit paper between them. Um My thoughts on why we still have those is because they were so high up when the floods actually happened. Um, there was, when the floods came, there, like, what is the one? Not Pumapunku, but it's near there, and they're like H block stones that look like they've been laser cut, like, and they're scattered like something hit it, like a tsunami, or people are like an explosion. No, because they're not blown up; they're just knocked over and thrown like toys. It looks like a
Mhm.
tsunami hit them.
Wow.
Yeah. Peru. I almost got it. There we go. That's the one I was thinking of before with the massive walls.
Mhm.
Um, Gary went there.
Ooh.
Saskatchewan. But what's the H block one? Um, Maybe it's Bolivia. They're like very close. Let me see. Bolivian. We'll put then. Sorry, we're gonna. I get into these moments and I can't stop myself. Bolivian. Okay, it's definitely in Bolivia. Maybe it is in Bolivia. There it is. Pumapunku. I was right. Okay. Look at these. Just look at these blocks. No way you could tell me they did this with. I don't even think they had bronze back then. Um, like they did it with sand. Like the cuts are so precise. They're like
Yeah.
yeah, look at that. I mean, just so there's S-shaped ones, there's these perfect squares, just these different, like, they just go deeper and deeper, and they were perfect right angles, but they look like they've been just tossed. Um, and they don't know how they went back together. It's just scattered all over this mountaintop. It's insane. Drill
That's
holes,
crazy.
drill hole right over here, like insane. Let's see, all the way to the right there, just a drill hole right through. Like this has supposedly happened thousands of years ago. Come on, look at those blocks right there, perfectly cut. Yeah, they did that with sand. Okay, I can see a square block like down here, but these intricate cuts, how did they do
Right.
those without lasers or diamond cuts? It's incredible. Um, I'm so far back where I'll jump. Oh, I'll jump right there. Dig a hello. $1.99 late fee. Thank you, sir, for returning your book. I thank you. And that book is The Reach. And it's right here by Adega. And you can go on Amazon and get it. And I have his other book upstairs. Adega Outlaw. Adega Outlaw, everybody. And then under that, my daughter just read the Bond books.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah, they're very cool. Bond 1 and 2, I let her read. She dug them by Nymeria. Or Nymeria. I'm sorry. That's a Song of Ice and Fire. I don't believe I just called her that. Sorry about that. But yeah, the Bond books are fantastic, guys. Please make sure and the artwork is, I'm sorry, I'm blowing myself up here to show them. The artwork in these are sick. Like amazing artwork.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
wolves, just
Miriam
gorgeous.
is just her
Near
her
I want to keep saying Nymeria. Nerium is an amazing artist.
yeah, she's very cool.
Yep. I love it. Let's see. I think I have been watching way too. No. The Y Files. I watch every night one episode. There's a couple channels I watch every night to go to bed to, and he's usually the first one I watch. I just really enjoy the way he does his videos. He's well spoken. He writes out his script. It's
Mhm.
well done. It's funny. It's I like how he gives you the story and then he gives you the okay. this is why it's bullshit or why it's not, you know? Um, the tubes and Stargates. Yeah, the tubes are very interesting. Let's see. Yeah, Wi-Fi's backstage channel. He's dope. I saw you over there, Monkey Jeebus. He actually responded to you in a live stream the other day or last week, was it? I don't always jump
Ooh,
on, but I saw you over there and I was like, damn, AJ responded to Monkey Jeebus.
that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. Mark has little people as well. That's how they're getting cleaned. Mars. Yeah. Parts of okay. We definitely went to the moon, but not in 69. I could agree with you on that. We did or we didn't. It's Schrodinger's box with me or cat. I don't know if it happened or didn't happen, but I believe both. For All Mankind is an interesting alternative history show about space travel. Okay, that's the name of it. For All Mankind. I've been watching also Harry Potter um movies. One's called the Mudblood, which is interesting. It's about a Hufflepuff girl that stole the Hufflepuff cup from Voldemort, and she's being chased. One is Voldemort, the Ashes of Voldemort. That they're good. They're good. Yes, we are all nerds, and I love that, Katina. We are. Yes. Let's see. Scott, how many nonverbal messages have you received from your 12 kids? Only 3 of them I take any messages from. The other ones I pretend they're not there. We instinctively have the fire on at night because we know that there is something that goes bump in the night, whether it is a cryptid or predators that we have seen and known around. I agree 100%. We fear what we can't see. And that's why it's innate in children. Like little kids never fear the dark until they get to a certain age, and then they fear the dark. It's part of our heretical blood. Really, it is. It's from the Tower of Babel, the pyramid mindset. Yeah, but the tower wasn't a pyramid. Dude, have you watched awesome one? It was Mad who actually turned me on to it. The House of David on Prime Video is freaking awesome. There's only 4 episodes so far, but it's really good. So if you haven't watched The House of David, it's really good. I have to catch up on The Chosen. I didn't know I think there's another season out. But yeah, there's so many awesome ones here. You guys are fantastic, but we're going to call it a night because we jump ahead an hour. And right now, to me, I have to believe it's 10:30, so I have to go to bed. I really appreciate everybody coming out and just listening to us babble. I hope you enjoyed the show. I kind of like these when we get to the non-scripted part, we just start surfing the net. I always find fun in that, but thank you, Tina, for being here.
You are quite welcome. It
Where
was
they
much fun.
where are they going to catch you next?
Where are you gonna catch me next? I don't think we have a show tomorrow night on Vinny Art's channel. But we are throwing around possibly going back to season 1 of Dexter as our next show to
Ooh,
review. So now with the new series that's supposed to be coming out relatively soon, I think it's called Dexter Resurrection or something like that.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's what I will be doing tomorrow night. And if not, then it will be back here on Tuesday.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. And if you guys haven't watched The House of David, check it out. It's a good series. I'm enjoying it. Invincible has been getting pretty good this season too. So check that out. And I hope you all have a great evening. And with that, we are out.
Welcome to Aluminum Spork.
Well, thank you for watching.
Mysteries come to talk from ancient ancient cities underground, to UFOs that float around. Giants of the past, prophetic signs that last, archaeological fights, and strange unexplained lights.
Good night, everybody.
Aluminum Spork.